Hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of the SimRacingOnline RSS GT1 Series, this round from Road America. If you saw us last time, we were at the Bud International Circuit in India, and that race was won from pole position by Davide Ricciardi in the Lamborghini. He is back here today and currently at the top of the timesheets in qualifying, hoping to do the whole thing over again. It's looking good so far. He's almost 1.3 seconds up on Nathan Lockie, who's second at the minute in the Lister. Nathan Lockie doing a good job so far, but we still have 9.5 minutes of qualifying left. Streaming today and possibly doing a bit of commentary later on, I'm not entirely sure, will be Matheus Marçal, so thank you for streaming, Matheus.
Thank you, Joshua, for coming. Hello everyone.
Yeah, it's great to see you all here today, wherever you're watching from. We're live on YouTube, of course, on the SimRacingOnline channel, and we're here from Road America on the Assetto Corsa platform. We're currently a few minutes into qualifying, and it's Davide Ricciardi at the top of the timesheets, followed by Lons now. So Lons has gone up to second. That is ahead of Nathan Lockie. And then Jeroen Remmers and Pablo Finotti make out the top 5, followed by John van der Geest, who is second in the championship, Simon Pike, Steph Williams, Chris Hill and Philip Pickler. Those are the top 10 in the order so far, out of the, I think, 13 drivers who have set competitive lap times, but plenty more in the server and plenty more drivers who are yet to set times. I believe we're going to have about 20 or 21 drivers starting the race here today, and it's going to be a 1 hour 30 race as well, meaning that there's plenty of time for things to change. Hello to Andrew Harper, who is our first commentator today in the YouTube chat. Good to see you here today, Andrew, and we hope that you'll stay and enjoy the racing. And also to anyone else who might be watching us now, if you leave us a comment and say you're enjoying it, or just say anything about the race, or just tell us how your day's going. I suppose it's nice to see you all here, and we very much hope that you're going to enjoy our broadcast today. Just seen a spin on the road, and that's from Davide Ricciardi, so maybe he was going to put in a quicker lap there, and in fact he was, because he just set the fastest first sector of anyone, but unfortunately he's had a spin, so he spun that lap away, and he's going to have to set up for another challenge rather than setting it on this lap after that brief mistake there. Relatively quick first sector as well coming in from Steph Williams. He's currently 7th in the order, but with this lap here he could be on target to jump up to possibly the top 3. It was certainly a good first sector compared to his previous laps, but he does tend to gain the most time in the 3rd sector according to his last laps. So now that he's got that first sector sorted out, let's see what he can do in the next 2. Second sector wasn't great for Williams there, but we'll see if he can pull anything out of the bag in the 3rd sector. He's about 2/10 up on his lap. That should put him about 4th if he was to set the lap with the current delta time. Just coming into the final sector of the course now, the famous final 2 corners of Road America. Quite a difficult track. Certainly takes a lot of practice. It's very long, meaning there are a lot of corners to get the hang of, and it's also quite technical as well in places. The carousel in particular always tends to catch people out. Let's watch Williams as he sets this lap now, and he does jump up a place. He jumps up to 6th position. However, his 2nd and 3rd sectors weren't great. His first sector was a big improvement on his previous laps, but we know that he can go a lot faster than that in the 2nd and 3rd sectors. So Williams is definitely going to be a driver to look out for. 2 other drivers I'm interested in at the minute are Yusuf Makit, who is whoa, never mind, ignore him for now, because Tony Talviti has just gone to the very top of the order, fastest out of anyone in both the 2nd and 3rd sectors, putting him at the top of the times with a 2:01.931. So Tony Talviti there goes to the top, and that's 0.280 of a second ahead of anyone else. So it's Talviti at the minute from Ricciardi, Lons and Lockie, the top 4. Reinhard Berger now goes up to 5th place, so Berger gained some time with that one. And I told you I was interested in Yusuf Makit's lap as well, because he's just improved to jump up 3 places to 8th place. So a couple of improvements coming in now as we have just 5 minutes left in the qualifying session. Nathan Lockie is putting together a good 3rd sector, but he's messed up that penny penultimate corner there and runs wide. It could still be on for a better time, but it won't be as good as he was about to do. He was looking as if he could have jumped up to 3rd, and actually no, he's lost that lap there, as Talviti goes about setting the fastest 1st sector of anyone. On his last lap he was quickest in both the 2nd and the 3rd, and now he's already going quicker in the 1st sector as well. So Tony Talviti proving to be one of the fastest drivers in the field today. He actually didn't make the 1st round of the championship, so we have no idea what he's capable of, but I think he's showing us, and he's showing us in fine form here. His 2nd sector, incidentally, wasn't great. It was about 4 tenths down on Ricciardi, so he lost a bit of time in that 2nd sector there, but he's still got the 3rd sector to make up time, and make up time he is doing so. Bit of traffic up ahead of him, that might actually give him a little bit of a slipstream as he heads up the start-finish straight here. Let's see as he crosses the line. This is going to be quicker, but Ricciardi's going quicker as well. Tony Talviti crosses the line, and this is a 2:01.745. Yes, 0.745, meaning that he's almost half a second now ahead of any other car. What a brilliant lap that was from Tony Talviti, as John van der Geest now jumps up to 5th place. Let's watch Davide Ricciardi though, because Ricciardi is going 3 tenths up on his lap already, and he's only at the carousel. Maybe Ricciardi can pull this back. In fact, he's just gone fastest of anyone in the 2nd sector, 2 tenths quicker than Talviti. What can he do in the final sector? It's all going to come down to this. For this hot lap from Davide Ricciardi, our championship leader, hoping to get pole position back from the Finnish driver Tony Talviti. He's got 2 corners to go now. Here's a left-hander, and then it's going to be a difficult uphill right-hander. Watch to clip the apex, watch to clip the exit. Didn't quite get the apex, but this is still has a big slide, and that might well be his lap over, because that was looking like it was going to be a great lap. Now he's going to be losing all kinds of momentum down the straight, and this may still be a quicker lap. Indeed, it was an improvement for him, but he didn't pass Davide Ricciardi due to a tiny mistake at the final corner, and that's all that makes the difference in racing sometimes. And a big shame for Davide Ricciardi. He still has another opportunity, of course. He's gone on to a lap now, but he's going to be feeling pretty gutted that he didn't deliver that one. In fact, that's also affected the start of this next lap as well, because it means that he wasn't going top speed as he crossed the start-finish line. He's already 2 tenths down, and that might well be it for Davide Ricciardi, unless he has enough fuel and enough tyre life to go for another lap after this one, but I doubt that, seeing as he's just done 2, I think. So yeah, Davide Ricciardi, I'm afraid, might well have just ruined his last opportunity in the session, but we'll see. Still just under 2 minutes to go. Just under 2 minutes to go, and the top 10 Talviti, followed by Ricciardi, Lons, Remmers, Lockie, Van der Geest, Berger, Finotti, Massett and Williams. Those are the top 10 at the minute. Great to see such an international lineup as well. We've got in the top 10 alone, we've got Finland, we've got Italy, Belgium, the UK, Germany, Turkey, Wales. I mean, Wales is part of the UK, although those are 2 different flags anyway. Steph Williams racing with the Welsh flag, Nathan Lockie racing with the flag of the United Kingdom, the Union Jack there. And then outside of the top 10 as well, we have the USA, we have Russia, Portugal is in there, and 21 drivers in total, I believe, have set laps so far in this qualifying session. I'm looking now at Jeroen Remmers, because Remmers, who has just jumped up to 4th position, is immediately setting about going even quicker, and this has been a great start to the lap for him. His 1st sector wasn't his best, but in the 2nd sector he's gained over half a second. So this has been a brilliant 2nd sector there for Jeroen Remmers. He's got 1 sector to go now, just 2 more corners, and he's going to be he looks short to jump up to at least 3rd position with this. I don't think he's going to be quick enough for 2nd place, but definitely 3rd as he slipstreams his way. And I say slipstreams because he is getting a distant tow there from that car up ahead. He slipstreams his way down the start-finish straight and across the line, and does indeed jump up to 3rd place. It's a 2:02.915. And what can Laurent Lons do about that? He's already improving his time by about a 1/10 of a second in the first sector. The checkered flag instantly is 8 for this session, meaning that all of these drivers only have the lap that they're on now to set a quicker lap. If they go over that time, they're not going to be setting another one. But Laurent Lons is putting in a very interesting first sector so far, because he's already a 10th up and might be about to gain another couple of tenths in the middle sector. This is really taking the attack back to Jeroen Remmers here. Out in front, Tony Talviti will not be going any quicker. He's in the pits. Neither will Davide Ricciardi. He has backed off, meaning this is almost undoubtedly Tony Talviti on pole, followed by Davide Ricciardi. That'll be your front row here today. Jeroen Remmers is in the pits. He won't be going any quicker. Neither will Nathan Lockie, John van der Geest or Reinhard Berger, as well as Yusuf Massad and Steph Williams. They're all in the pits. Currently improving their laps though are Laurent Lons and Reinhard Berger. No, Berger's in the pits. No, never mind, not Berger, I meant Pablo Finotti. So Finotti and Lons improving their laps. Finotti's going to set his first, and this is going to be a big jump from Finotti. Indeed, he jumped from 8th place up to 4th, so a great lap right at the dead, and in fact only a 1,000th of a second off Jeroen Remmers in 3rd. Now, can that lap be knocked off its perch by Laurent Lons? It might well be, because Lons, who is 5th place at the minute, is about to gain a whole chunk of time as he crosses the start-finish line. Laurent Lons goes up to 3rd position with that. It's a 2:02.843, a massive improvement from Lons, and I don't believe that anyone is going quicker. Indeed, they're not, meaning that is your qualifying order. It's Tony Talviti on pole position, followed by Davide Ricciardi, Laurent Lons, Jeroen Remmers, Pablo Finotti, Nathan Lockie, John van der Geest, Reinhard Berger, Yusuf Massad, Steph Williams, Ricardo Carvalho, Simon Pike, Chris Hill, Dennis Ashenko, Philip Pickler, Nuno Rodriguez, Eric Klein, Rob Milliken, Johnny Gutierrez, Darrell Kruger and Pasha Patterson. Those are 21 drivers, and that is the order that they're going to line up at the start of this race. So, Matheus Marçal, it was an interesting first look at the field there, but Tony Talviti didn't make it to the first round, and we've just seen him setting pole position by over 0.3 of a second. Great performance, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Tony Talviti, awesome driver everywhere. He likes to drive every car and every class. He's fast as heck on every single car that he takes his hand on. He has proven himself on Assetto Corsa, on Automobilista, on rFactor 1 and rFactor 2. He's just a great driver overall. Awesome job by him. Yeah,
of course, Talviti was our Group C/Flat 6 multi-class endurance champion just earlier this year. He won the Flat 6 class of that league, the Porsche GT3 Cup car, and he's just proved that he's not just quick in that kind of GT car, as he goes to the top in his Celine S7, the lovely V12 engine, powering his car to the top of the timesheets. We have just over a minute to go now until the start of the race, so it's going to be Talviti and Ricciardi on the front row, Celine from Lamborghini. Also in the field we have listers, like that driven by Laurent Lons in 3rd position. We have 2 different kinds of Ferrari, the 550 and the 570, and we have a Chrysler Viper, the top of those being Yusuf Massad in 9th position. So 6 different types of car we have here. This fantastic field of GT1 competitors. We have V8 engines, we have V12 engines, we have V10 engines. A lot of horsepower.
I have a bunch of V12s actually, right?
Now let's wait for the lighting gantry. Here we go. We've got 6 red lights, and when these illuminate, the revs will rise, and when they extinguish, the race will be underway. 1.5 hours rather, here at Road America, about to get underway, which is now. Go, away we go, and at the front of the field, it's going to be Tony Talviti who gets a bad start. Davide Ricciardi leads the race, so Ricciardi has already gone through. What can Laurent Lons do about Davide Ricciardi, about Tony Talviti rather? He takes a look to the outside, but it's going to be Ricciardi leading from Talviti second. That's the order as they go through the opening sector of the course. And a fantastic clean start to the race as well. I don't believe anyone went spinning. Oh, never mind, I spoke to you soon. Rob Milliken and Daryl Kruger were involved in incidents at the back, as was Eric Klein and Denis Ischenko. So a couple of cars went off at the back there that I didn't see initially. I'm just looking to see if anyone else is missing from the order. I don't think they are, but look at the leaders.
At the top 10, he dropped from 20th.
Yeah, Reinhard Berger definitely losing a lot of time. In fact, yeah, he's a long way down. Still hasn't triggered the Sector 1 timing beacon. So we did indeed. Alright. Well, we'll update you on the forwarder after this opening lap of the race. We did have a little bit of contact near the back, but everything seems to be more or less okay on this opening lap, and it's Ricciardi leading from Talviti and Lons, and behind them as well, look at that's Pablo Finotti, who's got up into 4th place ahead of your own Renners, jumping up several places to 7th with Steph Williams. So Williams has gained several places so far, and we'll update you on the rest of the order as they cross the start finish line. Look at Talviti, he hits the leader. Talviti dives through on the inside and forces Ricciardi wide. Now look at Laurent Lons trying to take advantage of that, not quite being able to. That was a very forceful move by Tony Talviti there to get back up to the lead of the race, and I'm sure Ricciardi would not have thought very highly of that one, but I didn't see the start of that move, so I can't judge it from a steward's point of view. And well, I'm sure that's going to be sorted out after the race. But as they cross the line, the order is Talviti, Ricciardi, Lons, Finotti, Renners, Lockie, Carvalho, Williams, Pike, Hickler. That's all that I see for now. We've got a slight move going on there. Steph Williams taking a look at Ricardo Carvalho, but not finding a way past for the time being. And then behind that group of cars we have Rodriguez, Gutierrez, Van der Geest, Hill, Massett, and then Patterson, Milliken, and then Kruger and Berger running very wide on the extra turn 1. Eric Klein and Denis Ischenko has been through the pits, so Ischenko obviously got off the worst on that opening lap there. He's had to go through the pit lane, which is a shame. But at least every car appears to still be running in this race for the time being, and we're still very close to the lead of the race, as you'd expect on only the 2nd lap of running. Oh, but look at Talviti slowing. Talviti slows into the carousel, and back through goes Davide Ricciardi. Now that looked deliberate, and I reckon that's because Talviti knows his move was overly forceful, and very sportingly he moves over and lets Davide Ricciardi take the lead of the race. And that's a great show of sportsmanship there from Tony Talviti. He knew that his move had not been entirely fair, and he's dropped back down to 2nd position, and that takes a lot of guts to give up the lead in a style like that, because the lead of the race, of course, the most coveted position, and a lot of drivers would have been tempted just to let it hang out and risk it, but Tony Talviti decides he's bigger than that, and very bravely so. And now he sets about trying to attack Davide Ricciardi again. He's going to have the slipstream heading down the straight, but he's going to be too far back for now. I'm also having a look at Pablo Finotti going very defensive on your own Remmers down the straight, so maybe he feels that your own is going to pull a move into turn 1. He pulls back into the line though, so Remmers wasn't quite close enough that time round. Indeed he wasn't. I have just seen though that Ricardo Carvalho did manage to get up to 6th position ahead of Nathan Lockie. So that's a change in the order, with Carvalho getting up to 6th, Lockie down into 7th. I'd like to have a look back at the stream actually to see if indeed it did look like the lead change was deliberate, because from my point of view it was, but it may have just been that Talviti made a slight error. I don't think that was the case. So anyway,
Finati just doing an error, dropping from 3rd position to 7th.
Oh golly, so Pablo Finati loses several places. He's lost one to Remmers, to Lockie, and is he also behind Carvalho? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So yeah, Finati dropping down a couple of positions. He's also now behind Steph Williams. So actually,
Steph Williams,
yeah, he's out of Steph Williams. Ignore me there. He's also okay. I'll update you on the order at the end of this lap. It's very difficult to see sometimes with Assetto Corsa, not updating the order partway through the lap. But anyway, I'm also very interested in this lead battle because Ricciardi certainly hasn't been getting away from Talviti, and Talviti's shown that he is potentially the quicker driver of the two. So we'll see if he can attack Davide very shortly. He's certainly sticking with him, and of course the slipstream is effective in cars with wings like these ones. So as we head down the start-finish straight here, Talviti just needs to stick behind Ricciardi and see how close he can get to his rear end. The gap as they crossed the line was 0.4 of a second, as Finati crosses the line in 7th place. So yeah, that was where he ended up. Simon Pike there slipstreams his way past Steph Williams. That's for 8th position. So Pike gets 8th from Williams, who has a slight slide there, little twitch on the exit of the corner. But yeah, Davide Ricciardi leading by just 0.4 of a second as they cross the start-finish line there, followed by Tony Talviti. Then it's Laurent Lons, Jeroen Remmers, Ricardo Carvalho, and then Lockie, Finati, Williams, Pike, and Rodriguez after the opening 2 laps. So we're on lap 3 of the after the opening 3 laps, we're on lap 4 of the race at this point in time, and still the whole field in a real chain coming through. None of them have really broken away yet, and you could say it's about 9 for the lead at the minute. How close they are. One mistake from the leaders at the front could bunch the whole pack up and really shuffle up the order, as we've just seen from Pablo Finati. And further back, I believe that everyone's still running, which is good to see. No, I'm afraid we've lost Reinhard Berger. So Berger is apparently our first retirement from this race. He, of course, was one of the drivers involved in the opening instance, and the highest placed driver involved in the opening instance as well. So that's a shame. It's a shame that we've lost Berger so early in this race, but indeed he's out. And that means we still have 20 drivers remaining in this race. It's a very nicely sized grid here at SimRacingOnline. And if you want to get involved, you can for the next round. All you have to do is go to the SimRacingOnline website and sign up. The mod is a paid mod, but it's definitely worth it. This is a very, very fun car to drive, and it's a great championship to be a part of as well. Next round we're going to Watkins Glen, and we're also going to Road Atlanta and Sebring later on in the series. So it's American from here on in. We went to India for round 1, but it's American for the rest of the series. Meanwhile, back to the action. Pablo Finati has just retaken Nathan Lockie, so the battle for 6th has changed hands, with Finati getting back past Nathan Lockie there in his Celine. Lockie in the Lister, of course, the very, very rare and very nice looking Lister Storm. A lot of downforce. Yeah.
Lister Storms that were production cars from 1993 to 1997. They were production cars actually built on the shelf in the UK.
That's why they're so rare. They were absolutely not mass produced, and it's great to see them here. they're just a car that seems to ooze downforce. You know, you look at them, and that sort of slanted shape and the massive rear wing, you just can't imagine that car not sticking to the ground like glue. It's a fantastic looking thing. And
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and it sounds great as well with its massive V12 engine.
And the car...
Oh, hold on, look at Tony Talviti here. Tony got very close to Ricciardi, tried to force him into a mistake, and he got one. Look at that, Ricciardi locks up and goes slightly wide. Talviti right on his tail end as we head into the final two corners of the lap once again. That was the mistake that he's been hoping for laps. He tried to force it on the opening lap and it didn't quite work. This time it very nearly did, but he's still just behind our championship leader. Now he gets into the slipstream again as we head down the start-finish straight. Surely this is going to be his best opportunity yet. He pulls to the inside and look at that! Look at that as Ricciardi defends and they touch, and Ricciardi also touches the barrier and all of that. Now he touches again and onto the grass goes Ricciardi. Ricciardi spins round, and off goes Laurent Lons. So Lons went off to avoid them, and that was very clumsy at the front there. It seemed that Tony Talviti, who now leads this race, just got on the grass in the braking zone, and as he turned in, clipped the side of Davide Ricciardi's car, spinning Ricciardi around. And they just also made slight contact earlier on in the straight as well, as they went right up against the pit wall. Obviously Talviti wasn't expecting Ricciardi to defend quite as forcefully and quite as late as he did, but in the end it all ended in tears, and also Laurent Lons got caught up in that as well, and that actually puts Jeroen Remmers up into second position now from fourth. So a massive change in the order. And I'm just trying to work out who else went up as well. Another driver who really gained from it was Ricardo Carvalho, who indeed actually passed Jeroen Remmers in all of that. So Carvalho from 5th is up into 2nd place. Wow, what a shake-up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a disappointing shake-up, because we never like to see a lead battle ending up like that, but unfortunately it did.
And I'm pretty sure that Ricciardi has damage on his car because he's losing a lot of time right now. Van der Geest is closing in very fast on Ricciardi's Lamborghini.
And this is crucial as well. John Van der Geest is 2nd in the championship. Davide Ricciardi is 1st in the championship. So these are the title contenders at the minute, going head to head, and it's looking like it's going the way of John Van der Geest, but definitely going the way of Tony Talviti, which Ricciardi will not look fondly on. But at the end of that lap, it's Talviti from Carvalho, then Remmers, Finotti, Lons, Lockie, Pike, Williams, Rodriguez and Gutierrez. And you have to feel sorry for Lons as well, because he would have been watching that battle up ahead of them and willing them to make a mistake so that he could get involved and get through. And it looked very briefly like that was going to happen, that he ended up having to go off as well in avoidance, and he's lost several positions and all of that. So whoever you think was to blame there, it's cost a lot of people a lot of time, and it's also handed a lot of time to others. Tony Talviti, Ricardo Carvalho and Jeroen Remmers jumped up the order in that, with Carvalho and Remmers now in 2nd and 3rd positions, which they would never have believed just a couple of laps ago. And a long way down is Davide Ricciardi, although he does appear to be holding ahead of John Van der Geest for now. In fact, looking at that, Van der Geest is under attack from Yusuf Matchett so far. It's been a disappointing race so far for both of our top two in the championship, both Ricciardi and Van der Geest, only running 11th and 12th in this race so far, as opposed to the 1st and 2nd that they finished last time out. Rainer Berger as well, another top runner in the championship, retired on the right at the start of the race. He was 3rd in this championship going into the round, and that leaves the top championship runner still running in the top 10 as Pablo Finotti in 4th position, and I believe as it stands Finotti would inherit the lead of the championship. Now, I haven't calculated that, that's just an estimation, so don't entirely take my word for it, but it's certainly looking good for Pablo Finotti at this point in time. I'm also looking through the order at other drivers who are set to benefit from this, but really the championship appears to be turning on its head with this round.
We have of course DNF.
Ah, do we?
Yeah, Pasha. We just disconnected.
Well, that'll be our second DNF because Reinhard Berger retired earlier on. But yeah, Pasha Patterson indeed is out, so Pasha Patterson appears to have disconnected, and that's a shame. Also, Rob Milliken dropped a couple of places on that lap. I've just seen him dropping down the order, so maybe something happened on that last lap to the Lamborghini of Rob Milliken, but I didn't exactly see it.
And then Yusuf must see just gaining, whether he's just got the 12th position there.
Still close for 2nd position. That's definitely a battle that looks like it's going to go a little way. Looking in the YouTube chat briefly, hello to Andrew Williams joining us today. He's a pretty quick driver himself, who I've raced a couple of times in Formula 1 cars, in fact. And then we also have Sim Racing Holland, who's calling for a drive-through penalty for Davide Ricciardi. So very clear who they believe is to blame there. But well, I'm sure they're going to have a discussion about it after the race. I'm not going to call myself. It certainly seemed as if Ricciardi defended quite late, but was it too late? Who knows? And then, of course, Talviti triggered this second incident by dipping wheels onto the grass. Was that, was that penalty worthy or not? That's for someone other than me to judge. So I'll just speculate. But it seems to me that they... in fact, to be honest, I can say this because as a race steward, I don't think I'd warrant any action for that. I would have said that because Ricciardi moved over quite late and because Talviti lost on the grass, I would have said they're both equally to blame for that, and I wouldn't have penalised either. But anyway, Davide Ricciardi incidentally is now back up into 10th position, and I'll tell you why that is. That's because we've had... Now, who just dropped a couple of places? Someone dropped a couple of places there. I think
it was Nathan Lockie.
Yes, Nathan Lockie. Nathan Lockie and Simon Pike. So maybe there was a slight coming together between the because suddenly Nuno Rodriguez is up in 7th, Steph Williams up in the 6th. There's been a big shuffle of the order there that we didn't see. So maybe there was an incident further down. I take it you didn't see anything to do with that. Well, something must have happened anyway. So as we're on the 9th lap of the race now, it's still close for 2nd place. That's between Ricardo and Jeroen Remmers, two drivers who did not expect to find themselves in 2nd and 3rd position just a couple of laps ago. And they're coming through the notoriously fast right-hander there. That corner cuts out a lot of cars. Of course, it's an easy corner because it's very, very fast. But if something goes wrong there, it goes very, very wrong. And I wouldn't want to... What's that?
Berger just disconnected from the server. Well,
I'm afraid that's not a very big thing because Reinhard Berger had been out of this race for a very long time. So that's just definitive proof that he's out of the race. But you know, he hasn't been out of the pit since lap 3. So his race is long over. I expect so, but nothing's really changed as far as the race is concerned now that he's disconnected. Oh, another change in the order as Johnny Gutierrez lost a couple of places on that lap. Gutierrez was running 8th before this lap, I believe. He's been passed by Yusuf Machet and Davide Ricciardi, so both of those drivers have gained places and Gutierrez has lost two rather. and I'm not sure that Ricciardi did have the damage we expected. He's got quite a smashed windscreen, but his steering looks pretty much straight, and he doesn't appear to be losing too much time after all, which is a good thing. But anyway.
Okay, Yusuf got a 7th place on the outside.
Yeah, that's Yusuf Matchett there. Oh, actually, yeah, he's just passed Nino Rodriguez, you're right. So Matchett has gone up into 7th place. The Turkish driver now ahead of the Portuguese driver in his Chrysler Viper. Mistakenly called a Dodge Viper a lot of the time. Dodge has been involved in the making of Vipers, but Dodge, of course, one of Chrysler's own brands, of course, their performance brand, effectively, these days, with SRT getting involved in the modern Viper aside. You never really know what brand to put in front of the name Viper, do you? Whether it's a Chrysler, a Dodge, or an SRT, but whatever the case, that's his Viper there in 8th position, registered on the 2003 FIA GT Series as a Chrysler Viper, so that's what we'll call it in this series, I expect.
Okay, you have to give Yusuf an extra attention, because he is the only Viper driver in the series right now, and he just went up from 12th place to 7th in 3 laps. It's a lot of positions.
Yeah, who's that? Nino Rodriguez?
He just got... he just dropped the position from Ricciardi. Massive gain. A lot of positions within only 3 laps.
Well, that's because the whole field has had a massive shuffle, of course. Another driver I could put into that category is Nino Rodriguez, as well as Johnny Gutierrez and Steph Williams. Those drivers were pretty much nowhere at the start of this race, and now they're running well and truly inside the top 10. Whereas we've got other drivers that we normally expect to be running near the front, like John van der Geest and Reinhard Berger, of course, who have been really badly affected in this race so far, and pretty much nowhere near the top, as well as Nathan Lockie losing out a couple of places as well. So a bit of a mixed up order, but that's what we like to see in races such as this. It keeps them interesting, and long may it continue. Remember, we've still got over an hour of this race to go, and we're expecting a pit stop to occur at about the halfway through point in this race, maybe a bit before or after, depending on what the driver's strategy is. And I'm sure this race is not going to be coming down anytime soon. So 1 hour and 6 minutes remaining in this race, and it's Tony Talviti still leading, followed by Riccardo Carvalho, and then Jeroen Remmers, Pablo Finotti, Laurent Lons, Steph Williams, Yusuf Matchett, Davide Ricciardi, Nuno Rodriguez, and Johnny Gutierrez, the top 10 at the minute. We've had a change of order on the lap for 12th. On that last lap for 12th position between Simon Pike and Nathan Lockie, 2 drivers running out of position after a couple of order shuffles, but Pike is now up to 12th with Pike is now up to 12th, yeah, rather, with Lockie down to 13th, and then further down as well. Oh, bit of a spin for Denis Shevchenko. He's spinning as I'm speaking, in fact, and does he manage to keep it out to the wall? He does. It was close, but loops it around and gets it back onto the road, and now he's going to spin, trying to get it going. Very difficult with a car with this much power to get it running again without just spinning it around instantly. Oh, he almost did it again there. So Ashenko maybe has already cooked the rear tyres. Something definitely not right with that car, and we've lost Eric Klein. So Eric Klein becomes our third retirement, unless he's just making a lengthy pit stop, but that certainly looks suspiciously like the car's not going anywhere fast, and I believe that Eric Klein might well be our third retirement from this race, as off goes Philip Pickler, as well, he just returns to the track as I'm saying that, but he's had an off while I haven't been looking. Now look at Yusuf Matchett getting very close to the back of Steph Williams through the final sector of the course. Took a little look there down into the final sector. That's the corner. That's the corner there known as Canada Corner, turn 12. Now gets the slipstream out to the final corner, down the back straight. Will we see Matchett taking advantage and making up yet another position? He looks a little bit too far back at this precise second. Just needs to stick with him in the corners and get the slipstream on the straights. But that Ferrari certainly seems very fast in a straight line with its V12 engine. And the Viper appears to be gaining in the corners, which is always a problem when trying to overtake. We can also see Davide Ricciardi in the mirrors of the Viper. But now look at Matchett as he attacks Steph Williams. Williams goes defensive on the inside. Matchett to the outside, leaves his braking late. Is it too late? He's running a little bit wide, but manages to make the corner, and through he goes. So Steph Williams backs out of it, and through into 6th goes Yusuf Matchett, with Williams down into 7th in the Ferrari. Now what can Davide Ricciardi do about this battling pair? Can he get on terms with them and benefit from their struggles? That's a real possibility here, but we'll have to wait a little while to find out.
Eric Klein disconnected. DNF'd out of the race.
Okay, so Eric Klein, yeah, well I said he was in the pits. He is out of this this race now. We have just 18 cars remaining, and that's that for the time being. I'm very interested in the battle for second again, because it's getting close between Carvalho, Remmers and Finotti as we head down the straight. Finotti losing a bit of time, but look at Remmers on the back of Carvalho. Still not quite getting close enough as he goes down the front straight. And into turn 1, took it, oh, he's gone through. In fact, yeah, I looked away briefly and he's gone through. So through into 2nd place has gone Euro Remmers. I actually looked away there because I didn't realise that he was anywhere near close enough, but he has indeed gone around, well, he's gone around Ricardo Carvalho and up into 2nd position. Carvalho down to 3rd. Pablo Finotti looks as if he might be about to attack as well and get involved in this. All 3 of them missed the apex there, locking up the front left tyre. But it's a close race between these 3 so far. I'm just going to have a look back at the stream to see if I can spot how the 2nd position changed. Whoa!
It looked like Carvalho just gave the position.
Yeah, goodness me, yeah, Carvalho did indeed just give the position to him. Now I've got no idea what the thinking behind that was, or why that's happened, but indeed he's done it, and now Pablo Finotti is right on his tail as well. I don't believe Carvalho and Remmers are teammates. I really don't think so. I'm going to have a look at the order. Indeed they're not, so I don't know quite what's happened there, but anyway, that's meant that Carvalho is suddenly under attack from Finotti as we go down towards Canada Corner. Whoa, that was close, with Finotti having to slam on the brakes to avoid his rear end, but still sticking with him through the final sector. So down the start-finish straight they go again. The Celine in the slipstream of the Viper, but too far back to make a move here. We have exactly 1 hour remaining in this race now. So we're a third of the way through, and the race doesn't appear to be getting any cooler at this point in time. This is fantastic so far.
Lond is on pits.
Who's pitting, sorry? Ah, Lauren Lond. Yeah, Lauren Lond's pits from 5th position. Now let's hope that's just a routine pit stop. Let's hope he's just the first driver to decide to make a stop, and that isn't anything more serious. I'm not sure quite how long we're expecting pit stops to take here, but I'm going to be watching that car with intent to make sure that it does indeed leave the box again, and it does. So away he goes. Lauren Lond's on his way, and that did look like a routine pit stop there from Lauren Lond's, which is good to see. So, less than an hour to go in the race now, and Fanotti had another there. It was certainly getting close for that 3rd position through Canada corner. And Carvalho is having to defend for his life here as Fanotti is all over his rear end. Through the final corner they go, and Fanotti knows that he has to get past Carvalho quickly because he can see Jeroen Remmers disappearing away into the distance, and he will want to get after him. That will certainly be on his mind here for Pablo Fanotti, but again doesn't get close enough in the slipstream. Now towards the 2nd corner, and the order just updates there. Of course, we saw Lauren Lond's pitting at the end of last lap. The order's just updating itself after all of that, and still Fanotti's on the tail of Carvalho, but closer than he was down into turn 1 here. It's looking close. In fact, he takes a look to the outside in the braking zone, and a bit of a slide on the exit as well from Carvalho. Little bit of a twitch. He loses the momentum, has to really stick to the inside line. They're both losing chunks of time through that left-hander there. And now Fanotti still not being able to make an attack. He had a real chance there into turn 6, but couldn't make it happen, couldn't make it work. And Carvalho again taking a tight line into the carousel. He needs to. Fanotti going even tighter at the minute though. That's not a very tight line, but can't make it work. Now here's the first right-hand sweep, simply known as the kink at 11. And then Canada corner is turn 12. You can see Carvalho knows that Fanotti will want a sniff. Runs over the curb on the outside. Fanotti just needs to stick with him through these last 2 corners here. Just needs to follow him and then use the slipstream down the straight. So here they go then, onto the start-finish straight. Pablo Fanotti in the slipstream, got the tighter exit, but still there doesn't appear to be much of an overspeed yet. Still in the slipstream, willing it to speed up, but it's still not there. And as they head into turn 1, there's still no change. One thing that's really interesting me is that it appears Lauren Lond's pitted several laps earlier than the next pit stopper, who we haven't even seen yet. So I was wondering whether it may have been slightly damage induced. I don't have any evidence to back that up, but it was certainly a very early pit stop there from Lauren Lond.
Oh, yeah.
It might well be that he doesn't think he can make it to the end of the race. Maybe he's going for a 2-stopper.
Yeah, it was super early. In round 1 we were used to see cars just pitting at 45 minutes. You know, at half of the race, some cars extended their pit stop. They used every single drip of the fuel that they had and extended their stint to 40 minutes. Some of them at 37 minutes. You know, to the end of the race. That's very, very early. Only 30 minutes in.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly indicates a two-stopper, seeing as that was only a third of the way in, and he still had about an hour to go. So we'll have to watch Laurent Lons and see what his strategy does. But whatever the case, he's done it, and we'll have to watch him intently for the rest of this race. He's currently running in 14th position, but the advantage of that is that he has very clean air. He's not anywhere near the car ahead or the car behind him. He's not having to attack or defend, and that might well be exactly what he wanted there. And whether it pays off or not, we'll have to see. Look at Finotti there, still getting close to the back of Carvalho, but again Carvalho is just going to have the legs in the straight line. That Chrysler very, very fast. The V12 engine, the Saleen of course with a V8 engine, the only V8 in the field. And the Chrysler just edging away in the straight line there. So into the second corner on the lap. Another straight here. It appears that the twistier sections are where Finotti is gaining, so the second sector in particular. But he really loses out on the straights. It's always easier to overtake another car if your car is better in a straight line than theirs, because a straight line is where most of the overtaking takes place, and it means that if you have to overtake someone in the corners, your job is made quite a bit harder, and you have to be quite a bit more creative with your driving. I've also noticed that Davide Ricciardi is up into 6th place, so he passed Steph Williams a little while ago. And Steph Williams is now down into 7th place. And John van der Geest is up into 10th, so something's also happened there. He's... oh, that was Laurent Lons pitting, of course, ignore me. I'm keeping a close eye open for whenever the next pit stop is going to be, because I have no idea who it's going to be or when they're going to do it. Now look at Pablo Finotti. Finotti taking a look. This is towards Canada corner. He goes to the outside of Ricardo Carvalho, and they're both going wide. They're both going very wide. Carvalho tried to run him right to the edge of the circuit. They made wheel-to-wheel contact, and still no overtake. Pablo Finotti still behind Ricardo Carvalho, and he will be getting very frustrated by this point. You must say Carvalho was a bit forceful there. I don't think he intended to be. I think he just left his braking slightly too late.
He locked up the inside right tire, the front right tire.
What was that, sir?
He locked the inside tire.
Yeah, exactly. Just left his braking slightly too late, locked the front right, and went a little bit wide. So certainly didn't intend to, but he's certainly not going to be doing Pablo Finotti any favours at this point in time, as he shouldn't, of course. So that was the end of the 18th lap of this race now. We are nearing the halfway point in this race. I'm expecting there to be roughly 42 laps in total in this race. That's going to be my estimate, 42 or 43. Very close for 9th position as well between Johnny Gutierrez and John van der Geest. These two running 9th and 10th in their listers. I've noticed that the listers from the rear look a little bit like old BMW M1 cars, but yeah, from exactly. But from the front, no, very distinctively GT1 lister. Tony Talviti has just lapped. Actually, look at that. That was Denis Sashenko coming back at him. So the first lappery has taken place. That was Talviti lapping Denis Sashenko, and Sashenko appears to be fighting back at this point in time, which is a little bit unexpected, but yeah, Talviti went a little bit deep into the corner, sort of asked for it a little bit, and gets away with it for now.
Nothing Carvalho changing positions there at the same corner, the Canada corner?
No, they're still not. There's still no change. So Finotti still behind Ricardo Carvalho at this point in time. Out of the final corner and onto the start-finish straight. This is again not an overtaking opportunity for Pablo Finotti. The Chrysler so good in a straight line. Continually pulling away from the Celine until the braking zones, and that one was a little bit too late from Finotti. He misses the apex, but that's okay. Won't lose much time at all from that. I'm also interested in John van der Geest on the back of Johnny Gutierrez, because they're an identical scenery. Aside from it should be that John van der Geest is gaining on Johnny Gutierrez. Little bit difficult to follow in the corners though, he's proving, as Gutierrez goes to defend the inside line for 9th place. So a couple of close battles going on at this point in time, and I'm expecting them to be heated up by the pit stops, which will start coming into play very shortly.
You can expect to see a lot of people pitting at the 45-minute, 43-minute mark.
Well, that's coming up very shortly, because we're at just under the 49-minute go in this race. So not far to go until the halfway point at 45 minutes. And I'm expecting the first of our pit stoppers to pit either this lap or next lap. We've already seen Laurent Lons, who I believe may be 2 stopping in this race, but we haven't seen anyone else quite yet. Finotti again not close enough to Carvalho through there. And does anyone dive into the pit lane on this lap? I'm not expecting it to be anyone near the front. It's usually the people who are fighting who go in first, and indeed Ricardo Carvalho pits. Now that I expected. He didn't want to have to defend from Finotti for too much longer, so he pulls into the pits and attempts to undercut him. And I very much expected one of those two to pit this time round, and indeed Carvalho did. So he's our first pit stopper since Laurent Lons. What can John van der Geest do about Johnny Gutierrez down this straight again? He's still stuck behind him for now. And still too far back for a very properly decent slipstream here.
Also, we have to keep an eye on Chris Hill, because he's gaining time on van der Geest and Gutierrez.
Yeah, I was about to point that out in the Ferrari. Chris Hill looks as if he might be about to make this a three-way battle here. Incidentally, Ricardo Carvalho is still in the pits, but he's just about to exit. There he goes, puts the power down and runs it down the remainder of the pit lane. I'm interested in where he comes out in relation. Actually, Laurent Lons is long gone. That's pretty hard to say, actually. But yeah, Laurent Lons is long gone. And that means that Carvalho is going to come out quite a way behind. But Lons will have to pit again. Whoa! Carvalho's spinning! Carvalho's lost it on cold tyres. He's gone into turn one, the very first corner on this new set of tyres. They're not up to temperature yet, and that means they're not as grippy as they could be, and he's spun the car around. So a lot of time just lost there from Ricardo Carvalho, and that's going to be a very embarrassing mistake. It always is when you spin it on your outlap at the first corner since he came out of the pits as well. He's going to be pretty annoyed at that one, but gets it, points in the right direction again, and that's all that Pablo Finotti needs. Now he's definitely got the advantage in this battle here. Looking at the YouTube chat now, I see that Zero Ban says his lap times were awful, his screen kept freezing, and he stuffed it into the wall. I take it he's one of our 3 retirements, so either Eric Klein, Pasha Patterson, or Reinhard Berger. If you could confirm which one of those you are, that would be very nice. But one of those 3 drivers anyway in our YouTube stream, and it's good to see you here. It's a shame that you're not still racing, and it's unfortunate how your race ended up. But we hope to see you back and having better luck next time out. Apparently Zero Bandwidth is Pasha Patterson, so yeah, he was our 2nd retirement from this race, Pasha Patterson. So yeah, Pasha, shame to see your race end so soon, and we hope you have a better race next time out. But yeah, join us back for Watkins Glen and see how you go there. But anyway, we're now past the halfway point in this race. We're over 45 minutes in. We've got just under 45 minutes to go. And I would read out the order, but it's slightly misleading at this point in time, as we've still got drivers making pit stops and drivers who haven't yet made pit stops. Everyone I expect will do, because surely the fuel tanks can't do the entire race. But I'm only expecting 1 stop from drivers. Look at Jeroen Remmers. Jeroen Remmers is pitting from 2nd place, so he's into the pits there from 2nd in the order, and through into 2nd place now goes Pablo Finotti, who will probably claim 3rd in the order effectively, seeing as Carvalho had his spin. Although don't forget Laurent Lons. He's in absolutely clean air, and if he can stay there, and if he's pushing, although he really does need to push in this race, then he could still come into play later on in this race. Also into the pits are Yusuf Musit and Davide Ricciardi. Look at John van der Geest, who just slightly tapped the rear end of Johnny Gutierrez heading into the braking zone at turn 1. Couldn't quite find a way through there, and I'm surprised neither of those 2 are pitted yet. Nuno Rodriguez is into the pits. Simon Pike is into the pits. Oh, did Ricardo Carvalho just touch the wall? I think I just saw Ricardo Carvalho touching the wall there, out of the little kink. And does he have slightly damaged suspension now? I'm not entirely sure. I may have just seen it wrong, but whatever the case, something wasn't quite right there with Ricardo Carvalho.
Oh yeah, also, you know Chris Hill that I talked about a couple of minutes ago?
Whoa, actually, just look quickly at Rob Milliken. Milliken is flipping? I don't understand what's going on there with Rob Milliken, but he appears to be flipping over and over and over and not stopping. So I'm afraid that looks to be definitely race over for Rob Milliken. I have no idea at all what has happened to him.
I think he found a bug on the racetrack and just gone flipping.
Goodness me, well, whatever's happened to him there, that's going to be his race over, and I don't know yet, but still just tumbling over and over and over. Whatever the case, he's going to be well and truly out of the race, and what a shame that is. As into the pits comes our leader now, Tony Talviti. So Talviti pit from the overall lead, as does Pablo Finotti from 2nd. Now, yep, Steph Williams also in, and I'm interested to see what the order is when this group comes out. Where do they come out in relation to Jeroen and in relation to Laurent Lons? We'll see as they cross the start-finish line this time around. Johnny Gutierrez stays out. John van der Geest comes in, so I said that battle would split. They split it a lot later than I thought they would. Drivers who also haven't pitted yet include not Steph Williams, he did pit, Nathan Lockie, and I believe that's about it actually. Pretty much everyone else has made a pit stop in this race. Lons. Yeah, there he is. He's just gone past the pit exit. Who's he ahead of? He's ahead of Pablo Finotti. So Lons is up into second place with that.
Third place.
So
he's in
third place. Who's second?
Nathan Lockie. No pit yet.
Yeah, but Nathan hasn't stopped yet. So effectively, Laurent Lons has claimed second place with this.
Claimed first.
And if he can build himself a gap that allows him to. Is he leading? Yeah. Nathan. Wow, Laurent Lons is effectively leading this race. I didn't see that, but indeed he is. Laurent Lons leads the race, and if he can build himself a gap which allows him to make a pit stop, I don't believe he's going to win this race. It's certainly not looking like he has a big enough gap now, especially now that the cars behind him are on fresh tyres. But Laurent Lons certainly appears to have just gained himself a bunch of positions. It seems that his two-stop strategy worked perfectly due to his clean air, due to his fast running. He's been setting all of the fastest lap. In fact, he does currently hold. Actually, doesn't hold the first lap of the race. That's gone the way of Tony Talviti so far, with Pablo Finotti second. So Lons only the third fastest lap of the race so far. No, the fourth fastest. Yeah, Yusuf Masjid actually with a very quick lap. So the order's going to update itself after this lap here. That was Johnny Gutierrez pitting. So Gutierrez, who was leading this race on the road, has pitted, as well as Nathan Lockie. Those two drivers stayed out for a very long time, but they both pit now, and that's going to allow Tony Talviti to go through and well, not quite lead this race, because Laurent Lons is going to trigger the timing beam before him. So Laurent Lons leads the race, followed by Tony Talviti. And then who comes through in third? That's going to be Pablo Finotti.
Actually, did Remmers pitted yet?
Yes, he did actually, and indeed he goes through in third. Yeah, Jeroen Remmers goes through in third. I was trying to work out who that driver ahead of Finotti just about, but no, it is Jeroen Remmers. So Remmers gets out ahead of Finotti. Then Carvalho crosses the line still before Matchett, but the difficulty with Carvalho is he would probably have flat-spotted tyres at this point after making a couple of mistakes on cold rubber. And we'll update you on the full order after this lap, where everyone has pitted. And I'll be able to tell you then. What's that?
Lucky coming out of pits. Rodrigo is very, very fast behind him.
Alright.
Good job.
Yeah, indeed.
Good job from Lucky, managing to keep within the top 10 after the pit stop there.
Yeah, that was just Lockie getting out just ahead of Nuno Rodriguez there. So we'll see what the order is after this lap, but I believe he is running in 9th position in this race at the minute.
Yep.
I'm interested as well as to where Johnny Gutierrez got out, but I'm sure I'd call it wrong if I tried to work it out right now. So I'll wait until the lap has finished.
Johnny Gutierrez is now 7th place behind Messi. Clean air, actually. Nowhere near Ricciardi or Yusuf Massi.
Rob Milliken incidentally has retired from the race. We very expected that after seeing him falling into a black hole, and I really still don't know what happened there, but it was a big shame. Denis Yashenko is also in the pits now, and I don't know whether that's... Yeah, that was his standard pit stop there, so out of the pits goes Denis Yashenko. He appears to have the record for being the last person to pit, and I'm not sure whether he pitted before or not, but he pits again anyway. And the order, as it updates itself now, is Laurent Lons leading the race from Tony Talviti. Talviti's off! Talviti, well, went very briefly off there, touched the grass with his wheels. He was certainly going very, very wide, made a big mistake, but didn't lose it like I thought he would. Then we have a close battle for third position between Jeroen Remmers and Pablo Finotti. They're very close on the road. They were separated by less than 0.6 of a second as they triggered the start-finish beacon on that lap. Then we have Riccardo Carvalho and Yusuf Macha, again also very close, so those two even closer in fact than the two I've just mentioned. Johnny Gutierrez is 7th, followed by Davide Ricciardi. Nathan Locke, he spins! Nathan Locke is spinning! Around he goes, and doesn't take anyone with him, which is good. Through into 9th goes Nuno Rodriguez. Through into 10th goes Steph Williams. And then we have Rodriguez, Van der Geest, Hill, Pike, Pike, Pickler, Kruger, and Dashenko. So that's the order at this point in the race, with 35 minutes to go.
We have to keep an eye on that third place battle between Jorge Ramos and Pablo Finotti, because they are really close to each other. They are within a 0.4-second gap between them. Just gone past the King, approaching the Canada corner. Finotti has the faster yeah, looking up on the outside, on the inside.
Yeah, Finotti had a little look there. He's probably getting quite annoyed of seeing the back end of another car at this point. He's been attacking Riccardo Carvalho for pretty much the entire race so far, and now he's got rid of him. He's got to set about getting past Jeroen Remmers as well, and he'll be feeling pretty gutted as well, because it's quite obvious that if he hadn't got stuck behind Carvalho, he would be ahead of Remmers right now. But that's how racing goes, and Carvalho was absolutely entitled to hold his position. Watch Finotti now as he slipstreams to the inside of Remmers, leaves his braking late. That was close, but he goes through into 3rd position. So Pablo Finotti takes the place away from Jeroen Remmers, dips a couple of wheels into the grass, but makes it stick to the road, and through into 3rd place goes Pablo Finotti. So that means the podium at this point in the race is Lons Tarvi. We're still expecting Laurent Lons to make one more pit stop in this race, unless he really can make his tyres and his fuel last this entire distance, which is unlikely. Keeping it close.
5th position.
Oh yeah, Carvalho from Macha.
Very close.
They're both Chrysler Vipers as well, with Macha all over the back of Riccardo Carvalho at this stage in the race for 5th position, as they go through turn that's turn 7 there. Here's the carousel. No, the left-hander was actually turn 8 now that I look at it. Running slightly over the grass there was Macha on the exit there. And again dips a couple of wheels into the grass, so dropping back a little bit from Carvalho. That will be with the turbulent air created by the rear wing and the rear diffuser of Carvalho's car. Makes it slightly hard to, or quite hard to follow the car in front of you. Incidentally, the Salines in this race are all running a 20 kilogram balance of performance ballast, just to make the racing fair. And the Ferrari 570s, I believe, are all running plus 60 kilograms as well. So balance of performance doing its job of keeping the field close. That's great to see. And can you imagine how amazingly fast Tony Tarviti would be without that extra 20 kilograms? He's amazingly fast right now, but without that he'd be away and gone. So just over half an hour remaining in this race now. Go ahead, sorry.
Fischler dropping 3 positions from 15th to now last. He got a little bit loose on the straight, and the second straight of the track, and top positions. A lap by Finotti too.
Andrew Williams points out that Gutierrez was just, yeah, he's gained about 20 seconds on John van der Geest in the pit stages. That's probably due to a different fuel calculation. I expect van der Geest would have put in more fuel on the pit stop, having started the race later. That's only a speculation though, I'm not entirely sure. And that might well mean that Gutierrez will get quicker compared to his opponents as the race continues, and he'll be one to watch near the end. Eric Klein says, started getting stuttering, then a black screen. That's a shame, Eric, and it's unfortunate to see you out of the race before, well, you actually retired only on lap 12 there, which is a big shame. But unfortunate, and again, we'll see you next time out, and we wish you better luck there.
Got the two Chrysler Vipers. I see,
yeah,
already got really close to Carvalho.
Oh, actually, Carvalho ran slightly over the grass there. He's going to have to go defensive as Matchett takes a look to the outside again. And he goes a little bit wide. Matchett tries to get the switchback. Bit of a twitch and around. Around goes Carvalho. He spins and, well, he keeps it out of the barrier. It's a full 360 from Carvalho, who continues on his way and doesn't lose another place. But a big spin for Ricardo Carvalho. And I believe that's his third spin on this set of tyres. Definitely second. So maybe his tyres are going to be feeling a bit of pain at this point in time. But yeah, another little spin there for Ricardo Carvalho. And that has settled the Battle of the Vipers for now, with Yusuf Matchett getting up into 6th position. Now I'm wondering... Oh yeah, 5th position, sorry, yeah, 5th. Now I'm wondering whether Laurent Lons can run the rest of this race on this fuel tank. He might well do it if he fills up to the...
Gaining 2 seconds on Lons, just pointing that out. Yeah, that's probably because Lons trying to save fuel or tyres, but if Lons is able to do that, then he's really benefited from that two-stop strategy. Well, not two-stop, from that early pit stop. And it was a very early pit stop as well, so I really don't know whether he will be able to do the rest of the race on this tank or not. I'm not entirely sure if you can do an hour on one tank of fuel. But Lons might be trying it here. He's definitely being caught by Tony Talviti. Tony has caught him by about 2 seconds per lap in the last 2 laps here. So the battle for the lead is on. Whether it's the effective lead or not is a different matter, but that I'm sure we're going to have to figure out later on rather than now. As incidentally, Ricardo Carvalho did lose out to Johnny Gutierrez, so he's down into 7th. In fact, he's in the pits now, so he loses out to Davide Ricciardi as well. So at Carvalho pits, he's probably ruined these tyres by spinning a couple of times, and decides that he's going to change the set. So that leaves him a lot of time there, and that's a bit of a shame there for a driver who was holding 3rd place in this race for a very long time. Drops down outside of the top 10. Watch Tony Talviti here, just behind Laurent Lons. And surely he's going to have a go into Canada Corner this time around. He just needs to stick with him through the little right-hand kink here. That little right-hand kink, I think, completely flat out. Now watch Talviti going to the outside of Lons. Lons not putting up any fight at all. He really didn't need to. He knows they're not in the same race at the point in time. And through into the lead goes Tony Talviti. So Talviti leads from Lons, and then it's Fornotti, Remmers, Matchett, Gutierrez, Ricciardi, Williams, Rodriguez, and Van der Geest. Carvalho that just DNF'd, disconnected out of the circuit.
Yeah, Ricardo Carvalho has disconnected and has retired from this race. That's a real shame for a driver who's running right at the pointy end of the field for a very long time, and unfortunately appears to have had one too many instant since his pit stop and has retired from this race. Now, big shame for him. Now, we have got a battle for second place here with... Wow, actually, Fanotti has just got past... Is that Denis Zashenko again? It is! So, Fanotti's just got past Denis Zashenko and had to go defensive as Zashenko tried to get back to him again. Zashenko, well renowned for doing that. And now, Jeroen Remmers was able to catch up a little bit to that duo there and gets past Zashenko into the braking zone down there at the Moraine Sweep rather, turn 5, and Zashenko again comes back at him on the outside. Goodness, I tell you what, Denis Zashenko may well be one of the most entertaining drivers to commentate on. Bit of a slide there from Zashenko. Lets the leaders pass every time and then has another go at them just to prove that he's still there. Great entertainment from Denis Zashenko. I don't know about driving, but anyway, I'm afraid we've also lost Nathan Lockie from this race.
We did.
So Nathan, who was one of the quickest drivers in qualifying, I believe qualified inside the top 5, is now out of this race. A couple of retirements, but a lot of them coming later on in the race. So a bit of attrition at this stage, and that means we have 15 drivers remaining out of the 21 who started.
Van der Gies getting on Rodriguez.
He is indeed. Rodriguez went a little bit wide into that corner there, and just out of both of them is Steph Williams as well, so this may well turn into a three-way battle. I'm sure Van der Gies wants it to turn into one. They're just going through the kink now. I believe that Rodriguez might well have a little look into Canada. No, he's far too far back this time around. So that's definitely a battle that looks like it's going to pick up again. And that's over 8th, 9th and 10th places, certainly one to keep an eye on.
And Londa's pitting. Just gone out of pits. I think he just went for a refuel because it was very quick. Managing to keep on into like within the top 5. Good strategy though.
Yeah, Lauren Lawns, a very unusual strategy. And oh, did he say he's just pitted?
Yeah, he pitted, refueled, and now back on track. Managed to keep within the top 5.
It was an unusual strategy from Lons, but he doesn't appear to have lost from it because he's still in the top 5. That's where he was before he pitted as well.
Yeah.
And he's still running in clean air. He has been for pretty much this entire race. So he's going to have had one of the loneliest races of anyone on the field, meaning, or on the grid rather, meaning he's kept out of trouble, kept out of battles, and just driven his own race, which is a great thing to do if you can pull it off. And now Lauren Lons still running inside the top 5 in this race.
Where did Lons qualify? Which position?
Well, I can check that if you like. Lauren Lons qualified, I think, 4th place, but I'll double check. If I remember correctly, it was 4th. And it was actually 3rd. So yeah, Lauren Lons did qualify 3rd in this race, and then kept 3rd in the opening 2 laps before dropping back a couple of places, and now he's running in 5th place after taking an alternate strategy to a lot of these other guys. Still very close between Williams and Rodriguez, rather. Still very close. We'll see if that can change on this next lap. Williams definitely appears to be dropping back a bit into Rodriguez behind him. We have just over 20 minutes to go in this race now. So still a bit of time for things to change. And watch Rodriguez as he slipstreams Williams down the front straight, takes a look to the inside, took a look a bit too early, I'd say, and wasn't able to capitalise. Has to stick behind him for now, settle for 9th position for the time being, but that won't be it for him for the race, as we still have over 20 minutes of this race to go. Under the bridge, onto the straight, back into the slipstream goes Nuno Rodriguez, about, down, into turn 5, has to back out of it. That looked as if it would be a good opportunity, but he had to back out of it and not attempt to move into the Moraine sweep. I certainly thought that he was going to be closer than that, and I certainly a better attempt at the move there, but couldn't quite manage it. What about into Canada corner this time through? He just needs to stick with him through the carousel and through the kink, and then have a little go on the brakes into Canada corner. Although unfortunately for him, it seems that Steph Williams is very good on the brakes in that Ferrari. And actually, I think Rodriguez had to lift off a bit through the kink that time through, which is going to affect him a little bit. And he wasn't able to get close enough into Canada corner. Actually, dropped back on the run down to the corner. Now, what can he do with the slipstream out of the final corner? That's a pretty good run there. He gets a pretty good run, but again, still pretty far back as well. And the slipstream, while it is effective, is not going to be effective enough to get him past this lap either. He just needs to keep putting pressure on Steph Williams, keep attempting to force him into a mistake, and just stay behind him, because Williams will make a mistake at one point. Everyone does, and when he does, Rodriguez will need to be there, ready and waiting and on the attack. What about now? Down into turn 5, goes to the inside again. We see how good Steph Williams is on the brakes in the Ferrari. The Celine not able to brake at the same point there. Not quite, anyway. So towards the carousel they head again. I keep thinking this place is going to be a good overtaking opportunity for him if he can stick with him until Canada corner, but he hasn't managed to do that yet. In fact, last lap I think he had to lift off slightly through the little right-hand kink. Now, does he keep it flat this time through? That looked pretty flat to me. Still though, not close enough for an overtake into Canada corner. Getting closer though is the battle for second rather. Jeroen Remmers has not allowed Pablo Finotti to get away from him, and now is gaining back the time. So we have got a couple of important fights on the road at this point in time to keep an eye out for.
We have the battle for second, we have the battle for sixth, we have the battle for 8th position too. Interestingly as well, Davide Ricciardi is gaining on Johnny Gutierrez as well. That's for 6th position. Gutierrez dropping back quite considerably now. On the last lap alone, 1.2 seconds Ricciardi gained. So that, I think, is the most immediate battle on the track now, as Gutierrez attempts to defend from Ricciardi, but for how long can he keep that up? And that's the fight for 6th position in this race.
Ricciardi won't be able to go past Lons ahead of him because of the gap. So 6th is about the best he can hope for, unless someone ahead makes a big error or has a mechanical failure or anything like that. But for now, Davide Ricciardi running 7th. What can he do about Johnny Gutierrez? Can he do anything into Canada corner? He's not going to be quite close enough, is he? Oh, he's taking a look. In fact, that's a bit ambitious there, but he spooks him. There we go. He spooks Johnny Gutierrez. Gutierrez runs wide and off the road, and through goes Davide Ricciardi. Ricciardi through and up into 6th position. So that was a good chat there. That was Bill G and Andrew Williams who pointed that out to me. So thank you for that, because indeed they have just swapped places there, Rick and Ricciardi and Gutierrez. So I'm also keeping an eye on the battle for 2nd as they stick together. Your own Remmers waiting like a shark, and then further back as well. Not much difference between Williams, Van der Geest and Rodriguez still. In fact, since when has Rodriguez been behind Van der Geest? So I think they may have swapped. Indeed, yeah, Van der Geest is ahead of Rodriguez now. So that's for 9th position. They swapped that. Still 15 drivers. What's that?
And Chris Hill is very close to Rodriguez
yeah, Chris.
Now.
Well, he was. He's not anymore. Oh no, he is. There he is. He's still there. I clicked on the wrong. So yeah, indeed, Chris Hill also involved in that one there. Still 15 drivers remaining in this race from the 21 who started it. And still several intriguing races going on, with about 13 minutes of the race to go. Not much chance for things left to change. The drivers need to start pushing now, need to start attacking now. And this is really the last chance they have to improve on their positions. I believe that if they finish as they are now, it's going to be Pablo Finotti who takes the lead of the championship. He finished 4th in the first race of the championship and will be 2nd in the 2nd race of the season. So he hasn't won a race yet, but Tony Talviti, who wins this race, didn't start the first race of the season, and Davide Ricciardi, who did start the first race of the season and won it, is only going to be 6th in this race as it stands. And by my calculations, that gives Pablo Finotti the lead of this championship. Or does it? Actually no. I'm just trying to work it out now, but I think right, Ricciardi's running 6th.
Yeah,
they'd actually be equal on points. So
Ricciardi.
Yeah, Finotti and Ricciardi would be equal on points after this race. They'd both have 66, meaning we have a close championship race between those two. And really, that means that Finotti defending from Remmers here, he really needs to. This is pretty crucial at this point in time, because Remmers passing Finotti would give Ricciardi the clear championship lead going into round 3. Ricciardi, of course, already leading the championship, but looks to be defending that this time out. It looks as if it's going to be a much worse round when he started dropping back at the start. With the incident with Talviti, but he's recovered, and he's recovered to 6th position so far. Just over 10 minutes remaining in this race. The final 10 minutes are just about upon us. And again, not much opportunity left for these drivers to swap places, but Remmers is really hassling Finotti now. His last lap was about 6/10 faster. Well, it was actually only 2/10 faster, so ignore me that. But certainly still putting pressure on him. This is Lamborghini versus Celine, or Celine versus Lamborghini if you read it from front to back. So through the carousel they go. We are now into the final minutes of this race now, until the timer ticks to 0 to signal the final lap. Towards Canada corner again they go. Can Remmers set up Finotti for a move down the start straight here? I don't think he'll be quite close enough, but he just needs to stick with him. Jeroen Remmers will be thinking in his head, you know, how do I do this? How can I get the best exit to this this corner? He'll be thinking several corners ahead as well, and just anticipating everything that Finotti does here. The gap as they cross the start-finish line there, less than half a second. But still no move yet. Finotti holding fast. He knows it's difficult to follow in these cars. He knows that if he just keeps driving his own race, keeps driving his line, and doesn't get distracted by Remmers in his mirror, then he'll be able to probably hold him off.
And we have less than 10 minutes for the end of the race.
Yes, we do. We have just over 8 minutes. In fact, this is the point in the race where everything really matters. Every mistake you really feel, and every move is absolutely essential. Talking of that, Chris Hill has just passed Nino Rodriguez for 10th position. So there's a position that's changed. Hill up to 10th, Rodriguez down to 11th rather. And it's also getting close between Williams and Van der Geest. That one's been close for a little while.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think they're going to be close enough to change just yet, but they don't have much time left to change that.
Van der Geest is a really calm driver, but he can be aggressive at sometimes, and I believe he's on the top of his game right now, trying to chase Williams for the 8th place.
Again, it's great to see you all here in the live on the SimRacingOnline channel. And we are hoping and expecting to broadcast the remaining 3 rounds after this one as well. So that's going to be every week, or every 2 weeks rather, at the same time. That's around about 8 PM GMT.
And we have the next week the last race, and the championship deciding race actually, for the G.E.A.R Multi-Class Endurance Championship on rFactor 2.
Yeah, certainly don't miss that. That's been a very interesting league so far this year, with a lot of, and Sebring as well. An important track in the world of motorsport, especially for endurance and sports car racing. So certainly you will not want to miss that one. I will be watching it intently, I'm sure.
It's gonna be a race that will decide who's gonna win, because we have battles for first, second and third on the championship, the multi-class. in both classes. We actually have a battle all the way to 5th on the GTE side of the it'll be interesting for sure.
Zero Bandwidth also points out that the SEAT series is going to be racing the Bathurst circuit next Saturday, so that's going to be a very interesting one. I'm not entirely sure. The broadcast for that one hasn't been confirmed yet, but we may well be broadcasting it. We're hoping to, and if we can, we will. Look at John now taking a look up the inside of Steph Williams. A little bit ambitious, but Williams made a slight mistake there on the exit turn 5, and Van der Geest saw his gap, but wasn't able to capitalise on it just yet. It was certainly his best chance in a long while though in that Lister. Not quite enough room there though. These cars, of course, all based on cars from the 2003 FIA GT series, the GT1 class. The Lamborghini, of course, only made one outing in that season, right at the very end of the season as well. Driven by the world famous Tom Christensen and Ronaldo Capello, and that was raced at Monza in 2003. But the other cars, of course, all made more reigns of that championship, including 2 different kinds of Ferrari. In fact, there were 3 different kinds of Ferrari in the championship that year. We've got 2 here. With Van der Geest still slipstreaming Steph Williams down the start-finish straight here. But just approaching a back-marking Ferrari as well. That will be... well, that's Daryl Kruger there. So hopefully Kruger will see them nicely. Indeed, yeah, he's getting out of the way. So through goes Steph Williams and John Van der Geest. That's good to see. No hold up, no hassle. But have a look now at John Van der Geest, who again is going to attack Steph Williams. He goes to the outside. And can he get the switch back here? Well, he locks up a tyre. And Williams is wise to it. We've seen that Williams is great on the brakes in that Ferrari, and Van der Geest there makes a little error with brakes on the left-hander, and again has to back out of that as Kruger gets a front row seat for all of this in his lap Ferrari. Wait, that's a Lister. Never mind, ignore me. Ah, it is a Ferrari. Ignore me again. Also close, Remmers and Finotti. You don't really know where to look, and they got turn 1 there. So Remmers and Finotti are battling, as are Williams and Van der Geest towards the end of this race. I believe, looking at where the leader is now, the next lap will be the final one. So we're approaching the very end of this race. We're going to have one more lap after this one. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. And that means that it's essential these drivers get their moves done as quickly as they can. Opportunities are running out. And Jeroen Remmers is running out of opportunities to pass Pablo Finotti here for 2nd position. As well as Van der Geest, step behind Steph Williams in the Ferrari. I'm interested in both of these battles towards the end here, especially Finotti versus Remmers, because not only does that decide the 2nd place spot on the podium, it also decides who is leading the championship, whether it will be a joint lead on points between Ricciardi and Finotti, or whether it will be Ricciardi solely. Of course, everything I'm saying is unofficial. That's just my calculation as the race is going on. You'll get the official results in the official championship standings later on, probably at some point tonight. Now, what can Jeroen Remmers do out of the final corner? We see straight line. The Lamborghini in the slipstream. This is a V12 engine over a V8. They're going to be going about the same speed as they cross the start-finish straight this time around, as they go on to the final lap of this race. Tony Talviti has already triggered the final lap. It's now or never for your own Remmers in this race. And still John van der Geest is behind Steph Williams as well. What can your own Remmers do about Pablo Finotti? As the race draws to a close, he's in the slipstream heading towards turn 5. Let's watch this as he goes towards the braking zone and takes a look to the outside. He's going for a switchback, I think. He attempts it, but Finotti is wise to it. And they're still going to be overlapping slightly into the next left-hander as well. This is turn 6. Finotti holds him off for the time being. He's going to have, I think, one more opportunity into Canada corner. You don't normally see people slipstreaming in time down the back straight, in time to get past with the start-finish line. Through the carousel they go, Finotti and Remmers. But I'm going to have to switch my attention to Tony Talviti, who is about to enter the final corner of this race now. Tony Talviti, who has come into this championship late, who missed the first round and did his first official session in this championship in qualifying, took pole position, may have lost on the first lap, but he fought his way back through. He showed a very, very sportsmanlike gesture earlier when he gave back the lead with after a failed attempt to overtake, and then he got it back again, and Tony Talviti has won. So Tony Talviti has won this race by a very decent margin. It's been a great performance from him. And now look at the battle for second as it crosses the line. It's going to be close, but it's going to go the way of Pablo Finotti. So Pablo Finotti does claim second position there by just over 0.2 of a second from your own Remmers. We will have a joint championship lead in terms of points. Yusuf Machet is going to claim 4th position, and look at his mirrors as Denis Ishchenko is going to come back at him. Oh wow, he didn't claim 4th position. Something happened on that final lap and Lauren Lons went through. So Lauren Lons claims 4th position on the final lap of the race. We didn't see quite how that happened. But indeed, Yusuf Machet appears to have lost about 6 seconds on that final lap. So it seems that Machet may have had a spin somewhere that we didn't see, but he claims 5th position. Davide Ricciardi is going to coast across the line in 6th position. And he is also leading, he's also joint leading the championship now. Johnny Gutierrez is going to be 7th. Gutierrez crosses the line now, 7th place for him. 8th goes the way of Steph Williams. John van der Geest is 9th, just behind Williams, and actually now clouts him after the finish line just to show how frustrated he was at not being able to get past him in the race. Chris Hill is 10th. Nuno Rodriguez is 11th. 12th is Simon Pike. 13th is Denis Ishchenko. 14th is Darrell Kruger, who now clouts a stopped car after the finish line. That was Nuno Rodriguez he clouted. And Philip Pickler crosses the line in 15th position. Everyone has now finished this race, all 15 of the finishers. We then had six retirements as well. Nathan Lockie, Ricardo Carvalho, Rob Milliken, Eric Klein, Pasha Patterson and Reinhard Berger. And that is the end of today's race here at Road America. Join us in 2 weeks' time as we go for round 3 at Watkins Glen. But for the time being, Matheus Marçal, what did you think of that race there? Okay, I believe we've lost Matheus for some reason. No, we couldn't hear you.
Okay. Microphone disconnected, sorry.
There we go, yeah, you're back.
Yeah,
okay,
that was over my expectations actually. I was expecting a really chill race, you know, with not much of a not much of an action within the pack, and you know, we saw that the race proved me wrong actually. Very good race, very competitive guys. The guys who had problems, they exited the track safely. The ones who battled for the very end of the race, Pablo Finotti and Remus as well, Van der Geest Williams, and all the other guys that battled. That was a pretty cool race. I actually enjoyed doing all the camera work for this one.
Yeah, it was very good, and thank you all for joining us in the chat and on the YouTube stream. Thanks to Bill G, and thanks to Zero Bandwidth, who also are thanking us for the commentary. No, thank you for joining in. It's no problem, and we're glad that you enjoyed it. So thank you all for that.
Thank you, Joshua, for coming actually and commentating.
And thank you, Markel, or Matheus rather, for streaming it. You did a great job, and of course I would have done a much worse job. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
Yeah,
so that's the end.
For coming.
That's the end of our broadcast for this week. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time from Watkins Glen, with the championship really heating up now. 2 drivers tied for the lead. So yeah, you won't want to miss that one. See you then.
See ya.